Mixolydian. All right, from here on out, I'm going to be spending less and less time explaining or going through these steps because, again, all the steps are the same for every scale. So since we've done this in detail with 2 scales, you should be fairly familiar with this process by now. So I will list them. I will play a couple little things here, but I'm not going to do much in terms of explaining what's going on here. Okay, so Mixolydian. The 5th scale in the key of G, that's D Mixolydian. Therefore, it's the 5th chord in the key of G, which is a D dominant 7th chord. The intervals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and flat 7. Chords are a D7 chord, or a D dominant 9th chord, or a D dominant suspended, or a D dominant 6 or 13. And again, any combination of those intervals can be played. If I have enough time at the end of this video, I will show you some, we'll go over the D dominant chords a little bit. All right, scale-wise, your next step, step 2, go through the modal positions resting on the D roots. All right, I'm going to do it in one position only. All right, your Ds are here. That in the rest of the positions so that you can comfortably stop on the roots. The next thing, listen with the chord. So you get a recording of D7, just the basic chord, no colors in the chord, and you just listen to the notes, run them up and down, probably do this a position at a time, don't try to go up and down too soon. Get the basic sound of the scale in your head against the chord. Okay, there are no new interval shapes to memorize for this scale. We already know what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and flat 7 look like in terms of interval shapes from a root. You're simply going to look at these all from a D root right now. So all the shapes should be familiar. So step 3 is listening with the chord up and down. Step 4. The 3 and 4 string patterns. All right, so I will illustrate these quickly. The 3 string pattern for Mixolydian is going to be 2, 4. These are fingers I'm talking. 2, 4, 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 4. So you do that everywhere and obviously adjust for tuning. The 4 string pattern is 4, 1, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4, 1. Backwards. Remember, you have to think about these things backwards as well. So 1, 4, 3, 1, 4, 3, 1, 4. Okay, you do that on all of your roots. Tuning. And you alternate the patterns in the positions. Also do the incomplete patterns so that you end up with the 5 full modal positions again, but you're now viewing them as the 3 and the 4 string patterns for Mixolydian. Okay, then you're going to work out the tone center for the scale. I would do these based on the 3 and 4 string patterns that you just looked at. So within the 3 string pattern, it's going to be fingers 2, 1, 4, 2, 4 that give you the tone center intervals 1, 3, 5, flat 7, back to 1. Do that from all of your Ds. The 4 string pattern for the tone center would be 4, 3, 1, 4, 1. So 4, 3, 1, 4, 1 is going to give you the intervals 1, 3, 5, flat 7, and 1. Do that from all of your Ds. Put them together. You've got your complete positions for the Mixolydian tone center. So I'll just do one up here. As you're doing those, it's good to be thinking about the intervals as you play it. All right, when you're actually playing a solo for real, you don't want to be thinking 100% about all of the intervals you're playing. Hopefully you can relax a little bit at that point, but if you do this work now, those intervals are going to stick in your head without thinking about them too much when you're actually soloing. So get the tone center together, then you're going to get your D7 chord together, or get a recording of the D7, and you're going to solo on nothing but the tone center. Okay? Get that up and down the neck. Then you're going to go in and add the 2, 4, and 6 to the tone center, one at a time, just like we did with the other scales. I'm not even going to demonstrate that. Just go do the work. Then you have the 3 blues scales. You always have the 3 blues scales that you can use as solo ideas when you're playing a scale. So A blues, B blues, and E blues. I'm not even going to go through the relationships right now. In other words, what those intervals are from those blues scales within Mixolydian. Let's see if you can figure those out for yourself. I will mention that when you play B blues, that is the same notes as D dominant pentatonic. Now, why am I using that term? Most people might not have even heard the term dominant pentatonic. Well, everybody talks about major and minor pentatonics. Well, if there's a major pentatonic and a minor pentatonic, then there's going to be a dominant pentatonic. What everybody calls major pentatonic, we are talking about the same intervals here. So when we did G Ionian and we played the intervals 1, 2, 3, 5, 6 out of the G Ionian scale, well, that is correctly called a major pentatonic scale. We haven't done C Lydian yet, but if you can find the same intervals out of the C Mixolydian scale, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, which is a major scale. Therefore, that's another major pentatonic scale. Well, when you play the intervals 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6 from Mixolydian, which are within that scale, you're playing from the dominant scale. So why wouldn't you call that a dominant pentatonic scale? Everybody should be saying that. I mean, using terms that are confusing doesn't really do anybody any good. So you want to keep in mind that there is a dominant pentatonic scale, and it's coming from Mixolydian. So yes, the fingerings are going to be the same as the major pentatonic, but if you don't understand the scale you're playing from, you're going to have some issues in your soloing that aren't going to be good issues. All right, so you do have 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6. It's the same notes as B blues. So again, if you've done the previous work, you already know where the notes are for B blues. So you already know the full positions for the D dominant pentatonic scale. You simply think about the B blues scale from a D root. Okay, so you want to make sure you listen to all 3 blues scale ideas over the D7 chord. And again, B blues is the same notes as D dominant pentatonic scale. All right, the chords. You should have voicings based on the exercises that I've given you previously. You should already have some voicings of D dominant 7. But I'll give you common ones anyways. So if we go down here, I mean, everybody knows this one. Right down here in the open position, that D7, which is 1, 5, flat, 7, and 3. All right, if we go up to our first modal position, that is going to be your most common D dominant 7th chord. Now this actually doubles up on the 5th, so if you want to play all 4 notes, or I'm sorry, it doubles up on the root. You have a root here and a root here. So right now the way I'm playing this, I have 1, 3, flat, 7, and 1. There is no 5th in here. So if you want to put a 5th in there, you can put it on the bottom. Remember, it is okay to put tone center intervals on the bottom of a chord. It's not okay to put color intervals on the bottom of a chord. So this is commonly done. All right, so that's the full chord, or you can play it like this without the 5th. I don't care. If we go up to the next modal position, that's a common one. There's an extra 5th on the top if you want it up here. So in this we have 1, 5, flat, 7, 3, and if you want it, another 5 over here. Okay, in the next position, let's see. So that would be most likely the most common one. All right, so what we have is 5, 1, 3, flat, 7. All right, if we go up to the next position, we have this, which should be familiar to most of you. 1, flat, 7, 3, and 5. You can also play a barred version of this where you use all 6 strings. 1, 5, flat, 7, 3, 5, 1. Okay, and then we get back up to this, which is the repetition of the open one down here that I started with. All right, so those are good ones to start with if you don't know those. You can always come up with your own. Again, if you have the book, you have a full neck diagram where you can just visually look at it very quickly and find tons of these things. You would want to go through the same exercise, get those chords memorized, get familiar with where those intervals are in those basic dominant seventh chords, and then do the work putting in the colors. Like, don't try to do too much of this too soon. And I would go through it the same way, with the same steps that I've explained before, which are you can take the basic chord, and if you're going to put a ninth in, well, you can lower a certain interval in the chord to get the ninth, or you can raise a different interval to get the ninth. Same thing with the 6, same thing with the 4. So you can kind of look up from the chord, or you can move down from the chord to find your intervals that you're looking for. You can also do the exercise of adding in each note as you go, and you can do that in each position. So all these things that we have done in the past are universal things for, it doesn't matter what scale you're playing or practicing, you can use the same steps in every single scale. All right, so that's really about all we're going to do for Mixolydian right now. You can listen to the demo of it, but that's it for now.